So, welcome everyone to the June 2025 supporters update. Just a little reminder of who everybody is. I'm Debs McCann and I'm Woodcraft Folks Chief Exec. And tonight I'm joined by Ro, who's one of our trustees. Ro, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi. I'm a relatively new trustee. Joined the General Council last summer. I'm a volunteer from South Norwood district, which I set up mostly for my grandchildren, to be honest, but it's not just my grandchildren who go. But my background with Woodcraft Folk is actually from when my daughter was a child in Cambridge. She was in the Woodcraft Folk there. And when I moved to South London, I wanted my grandchildren to have the same opportunities that she had to be part of Woodcraft Folk, and there was no local group. So I decided to set one up because I was in that kind of mood that month. And I don't regret it. I'm very proud of what's happening with this district in South North. It's now been going for 7 years, I think, something like that. And I recently joined the General Council, and so I'm still finding my way a little bit on that as well.
Well, thank you, Ro. And it's really lovely to hear that you're proud of setting up that group, actually, and the fact that it's survived through COVID and has become
Yes.
established with new
Yeah.
volunteers. They were tricky years, particularly for new groups and districts. I
And
mean,
young. Our lot is young. We actually had wood chips on computers, playing games on computers and things. We actually lost some elfins because they couldn't cope with computers, having been, stuck on them for school as well, I suppose. But we actually had wood chips sharing their news across computers and playing games on computers. And to be honest, if we hadn't had the online stuff, we wouldn't have survived. Part of what I'm proud of is that we did actually manage to keep going through those difficult time, and we also we had a day camp at Cudham
I
because we
remember.
had the camp. We had a day camp there, which was brilliant as well, and we kept the group going.
Cool. Well, thank you, Ro. Tonight's supporters update, like most of the others, is about updating our members and our supporters about what's happening. So we've got news from across the network about St. Tina activities, Camp 100, about what's happening with some of our new groups, and news from our centres, as well as a little update on some staff changes. And because this is the supporters update, already in June, talking about the Christmas campaign, which is the Big Give annual campaign that we've been running for the last 4 years. People are encouraged to ask questions and give us some feedback all the way through it. And I am going to, I think, hand over. Oh, no, I'm doing Camp 100, aren't I? Sorry. Camp 100, we've been talking about it. It feels actually since Co-Camp in 2011, although in those days it wasn't called Camp 100, it was just a camp to celebrate the centenary. We're really pleased that we have over 2,000 campers booked in, and despite the booking deadline, bookings are still coming in, so that number is creeping up. Because of the IFM camp in Austria celebrating the Austrian centenary, we have less internationals coming than we did in 2022 for Common Ground, but we still have internationals coming from Mali, from Chile, from Peru. We still have some from Catalonia, from Norway and Denmark, and various other European countries too. And we are creating a link between the Austrian centenary camp and Woodcraft Folk centenary camp, so the campers from both international camps can communicate and wish each other all the best as we celebrate 100 years of Woodcraft Folk style activities. On the screen, you can see a range of centres. We're really excited this year to be hosting a centre with our trade union colleagues, and there'll be representatives from the Communication Workers Union, from the General Federation of Trade Unions. In actual fact, Ro, as a member of the trade union working group, are you up to date with the programme? Sorry to put you on.
Yeah, I'm happy to set that one up along with Gawain from General Federation of Trade Unions, the GFTU, who happens to be a pioneer leader as well. So that's brilliant that we've already got that link. And there's a few of us involved in that now, and we're working very hard building links with trade unions and drawing them in. We've got quite a few visitors to camp from the various trade unions, something that's absolutely wonderful. We're having to organise safeguarding and how we're going to accompany them and so on. But we're really, really excited to have so many people, young members mostly from trade unions, coming along to help us run sessions for the young people at Camp 100 around various aspects to do with working together and trade unions, but to help young people understand what trade unions are about and what the wider movement is about as well. So it's and we're hoping going forward that we will because there used to be strong links between Woodcroft Oak and trade unions, quite a few of them, and we're hoping to build on that coming out of the TU Centre. And we're even running some sessions, as all the centres are, especially for the under 12s, which is a little bit of a challenge for a trade union centre to do that, but I think it's going to work quite well. My granddaughter claims to be looking forward to it.
It can rise to the challenge. And we're also hosting the Underground Printing Press, who made a visit to Venture Camp, if I remember rightly, in 2013. So there will be printed news at Camp 100, as well as the typical radio and television. And we will be having a camp postal service this year. So look out, and also don't forget to share your own post on camp, sending messages across the villages, which I am personally looking forward to. Ray, do you want to tell people about the songbook?
Yes, I'm excited about this. Not just, I mean, it's wonderful to have a new songbook anyway, and we've updated some of the songs in it, but I'm particularly excited because we've got a new song which I think is wonderful. It's called Singing for a New World, and it's written by a South London volunteer as well, in fact, who, not somebody I know, but somebody from, I think he's from Lewisham.
That's right.
And we actually, the words are just perfect. It's all about spanning the world with friendship. And we taught a couple of our Elfins to sing it on at our group night this week, and they performed it to the rest of our children at the group night as part of their carnival badge, actually, about singing songs. But it's a brilliant song, and I'm very excited about that. I'm looking forward to learning it. If I could hold a tune, I would sing it to you now, but you'll be pleased to know that I'm not going to do that. But it is a really, really good song. I'm also looking forward to us having the new songbook and see what they've done there, because they've changed. I say they've updated some of the songs, the traditional Woodcroft folk songs as well.
And the new song was sung at pre-camp for Camp 1.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. At the camp.
Oh, yes. Well, for our lot had never heard it before. So, and I don't know whether they picked up the tune or not, because our two Elfins didn't quite get the tune, but it's a brilliant song. Isn't it a brilliant song? I think it
is. I think it is a beautiful song, and I think in good old Woodcroft folk tradition, we'll all have a slightly different tune, but it will be perfect harmony when we come together.
Yeah.
And the other news with the new songbook is that every camper, due to a generous donation, will get a free copy when they come to Camp 100. So make sure you've got somewhere nice and dry to take the songbook home with you afterwards. And I think it's only right and proper to acknowledge the amount of time and dedication from a small team of volunteers who've been working on the songbook for a number of years now, seeking copyright permission for us to replicate the words and the chords of some of our traditional favourites, which I know has been a frustrating, but now the songbook has gone off to the printers, a rewarding experience. So big special thank you to the team that have been doing that. And I know that there have been others who've participated in song weekends over the last couple of years. And I'm going to say at least 5 years. It might be even as many as 7. It goes past quickly, doesn't it, Ro?
Yeah.
And then I just wanted to remind people, for those who aren't coming to Camp 100 to camp, there are a number of opportunities for people to get involved. So we have our showcase day on the Thursday, the 31st of July, where we will be joined by a number of partner organisations, some of our trade union friends, as well as people from the co-op societies and those who are celebrating the International Year of Cooperation. If there are other guests that you feel should come along to the showcase day, please email the Camp 100 team so that we can get an invite to them. There'll also be the AGM, which is on Saturday the 2nd in the afternoon on that day, where all members can come along and talk about the motions and Woodcraft Folk, not necessarily completely past, but the last 12 months anyway. And as is typical for all of Woodcraft Folk's large camps, we have a family and friends open day for parents who aren't at camp, younger siblings, grandparents, or anybody to come and say hello. And that'll be on the Sunday, the 3rd of August. But we are still also seeking financial support. So we have already managed to raise money to support 180 young people to have subsidised places at Camp 100. And we continue to promote our Camp 100 Solidarity campaign, which I will put a message in the chat when I hand over talking to Ro.
Can you also put in the link about how family and friends can book to attend? Because although it's open to everybody, you do need to put in. You need to let us know you're coming for the family and friends. And there's a little booking form. Yes, but we're also talking about this. There's lots of exciting things happening in Woodcraft Folk at the moment, because this is an exciting development as well. This is this recently published book, which I've not read yet, but I'm looking forward to, where it's being launched on the 19th of June at UCL, University College London. That stands for, I believe.
Yes.
And I think it's at 5 o'clock that day. Is that right? In my diaries, I am actually going. I think it's at 5 o'clock. And again, you will need to, although everybody's welcome to attend that, and we hope people will, we do ask people to book so we know who's coming to that one as well. Was I going to say anything else about that? I don't think so.
I think that's probably enough. And then on the week commencing the 23rd of June, there is a special edition of Journal of Cooperative Studies, which is focusing on Woodcraft Folk, which we're really pleased is also happening in the International Year of Cooperation. And the special edition includes some reflections on Woodcraft Folk past and present. So there are some case studies in there of woodcrafters who perhaps are mature nowadays in their 60s, 70s, and even their 80s, and how Woodcraft Folk made a difference to their life. But there are also stories from today's adventurers about the difference Woodcraft Folk makes to them. I think there's a really fascinating article by Rich Pulzer on the women in Woodcraft Folk and how truly inclusive, or perhaps not, we have been over the decades. But there's a range of different articles in there, which I think will give people a real flavour of what Woodcraft Folk does and the impact it has on children and people. So look out for that too. That will come in both, both of these resources are available as PDFs or in hard copies to order, which we'll celebrate when they are published. I think the Span the World with Friendship technically goes live.
I think it was the 2nd of June. I think it's already available.
I think you can order, but I don't think that. I think they're coming out of the printers on Friday.
Yes. Okay.
Ro, would you like to tell people about?
I'm going to repeat myself again, but this is also exciting because this is as part of a project that we're running to celebrate the 100 years. We're asking for people to send us photos, postcards, whatever, of your life in Woodcraft Folk. And although we're very, very interested in seeing stuff from decades ago, and I've seen some stuff's been put up on Instagram and Facebook that's exciting, but it's also, I keep saying exciting, don't I? But it's also about recent history as well. I'm going to dig out some photos of perhaps our first ever group night, for example. In fact, it's fascinating for me to see how some of those children are still in our group now, 7 or 8 years later, you know, and that's a history thing as well. But that's going to be an exhibition from when's it go? When does that start? When does this?
The first exhibition is at the Co-op Group at Angel Square in Manchester, which will take place from the 14th to the 28th of October. So we'll include the half-term holidays for most areas. And then it moves to the Rochdale Pioneers Museum for Youth Work Week. So we are very lucky that Rochdale are hosting a Youth Work Week celebration on the 8th of November as our exhibition sits in the galleries for 2 months before heading south to London for the very beginning of 2026. After it's been to the Four Corners Gallery, the exhibition will be available to go to other locations. So if anybody knows of other suitable locations for either the whole exhibition or parts, because it does involve 40 different A0 boards, so it's quite large, but it has been designed to come in parts too. But if there are people who are interested in hosting part of the exhibition, the team would love to hear from you too. If not, put it in your date in your diary, take a trip to the Rochdale Pioneers or to Bethnal Green in London, whichever is easiest for you. And then I just wanted to share that we all have also launched a centenary campaign to help fund the future of Woodcraft Folk. So Grace, who is our fundraiser, is looking for support to raise £10,000 to support new groups to open in our centenary year, so that we can continue to support more children and a greater diversity of children to have a Woodcraft Folk experience. Maybe not quite for the next 100 years, but as they grow through the folk. And there's a little QR code there if people want to scan. But let's tell you more about news from across the network. So
already this year, and we're only not even halfway through quite, are we? We've got several new groups, including Camborne, Ealing, Exeter, Hounslow. They're all on there, but also and Cambridge City, Sheffield, Norwich, and Eastbourne. So that's quite a few new groups already, and there's more to come. We're working with several potential new groups as well, and I was hoping, you know, we might even get a new one in South Norwood if we can. We've certainly got the children for it. We just need to find the volunteers. So that's no, I'm going to say it again. It's exciting. There is a lot of stuff going on in 2025 for Woodcraft Folk, and I'm hoping that most of it, if not all of it, is exciting. So I'm very happy to say that. And there's a new group surgery at the end later on this month, which is about helping those new groups to develop and to turn into feasible groups. Viable, not feasible.
Strong community embedded groups that are doing lots of positive, exciting stuff. We'll use exciting and carry on as well. And then I'd like to just share a little bit about our centres. So we have 4 centres, Lockbrook, Highgate, Cudham and Biblins. And here is a beautiful image of the team at Biblins celebrating the recent heritage room that was opened as part of the 50 years of Cudham. So last year were significant birthdays for all of our centres, with Lockbrook celebrating 60 years, Cudham celebrating 50 years of Woodcraft Folk, and Highgate celebrating 25 years, the young baby of the group, but still 25 years is hugely significant. As a network, they supported over 28,000 bed nights, which is a lot of probably sleepless nights, if we're honest, engaging lots of different children. Ro, did you want to say anything about the 50 years of Cudham Project?
Yeah, and then that photo is at Cudham. You said it was at Biblins, but I think that was just that's at Cudham. I recognise all of those people pretty much. Yeah, I mean the 50 years of, I'm not going to say it's exciting, but it's a very good thing. 50 years of Cudham Project, and part of it, one of the things that we've been doing is going out and actually getting and talking to people about what Cudham means to them, what it means to them when they were children and now they're grown up, or what it means to them now as new volunteers and Children First coming through, and that's all going to be brought together in an archive as well. And I'll say this. I've said this to anybody that will ask. Cudham is actually very, very important to South Norwood, and I think it's important to a lot of districts in the south of England as well. It's a place that we love. It's a place that helps us to grow. As a result of going to Cudham a few weeks ago, our group, like, we didn't have to wear labels at our group night on Monday this week, because we all know each other now, because we've been at Cudham and we've played together, and we had more people at Cudham than we've ever had before. We were full at Cudham. We had an overflow bunch. We had our pioneers in tents because there was no room for them in the dorms, kind of thing. It was absolutely wonderful. And Cudham is a very, very special place for all of us. And
I think all of our groups would say the same of all of their centres, that coming together, living our values in that shared space is really, really impactful.
But like you say, not a lot of sleep. You're quite right.
Not a lot of sleep, but probably quite a lot of eating, quite a lot of chatting and something.
Yes.
Other things that have been happening in the centre is that for the first time, Biblins has been delivering Generation Green, which is a special targeted project to encourage children with fewer opportunities to have opportunities within the national park, and for Biblins, which is not quite a national park, but as part of the National Landscapes Partnerships. And we hope to see that opportunity grow in future years and expand to some of our other centres. Big thing that happened at the beginning of the year for our centres was Adventures Away from Home, which is funding from the Department for Digital Culture, Media and Sport. And this is the third time we've delivered this programme. We supported over 250 overnight stays and 101, because 100 wasn't good enough, day visits at our centres. For the first time, we delivered activity at all of our centres, including Highgate, which was lovely. The evaluation, which I know that some of the leaders found quite a lot of paperwork, has actually been really beautiful. Hearing from 13, 14-year-olds who describe them reflecting on their learning from having that opportunity to be out of their normal environment in a residential. One that did bring tears to my eyes was a young woman who just simply said, "I've learnt that I'm enough." Which I felt was really, really powerful. But there were also lots of other ones who were reporting that they find it easier to work better in a team, or they find it easier to manage their emotions and stress. They find it easier to problem solve as a result of working in a team at these residential settings. But I thought I'd also share this one where a young man, 14-year-old, said that he realised he really liked being outside in nature, and that it actually made him felt happier than he had done for ages, and stopped him thinking about things that worried him. And he gave the example of his mum being ill. And I think actually this is really powerful about those opportunities that we give to children and young people to be children, to play, to escape, and how much that supports both their physical health, but also their mental health. And if anybody's interested, I'll be more than happy to share the full evaluation report. And I'm looking forward to UK Youth, who coordinated the whole national scheme, when they publish the evaluation next month. And I'm hoping that there will be many quotes from the residentials hosted by Woodcraft Folk.
Debs,
yep.
Do you think that will continue?
I do. So last month, Lisa and Andy did a speech where they made a dedication to continue to support outdoor education and learning. The amount of money that was published is actually 4 times higher than the amount of money that has currently been invested in Adventures Away from Home. So I feel very confident that this will continue. I'm hoping that it will be a little bit more strategic and a little bit more long term. So in the last 3 years, it's been November when they've told us we're having funding. We'll get the grant just agreed maybe the week before Christmas, and all delivery has to happen January to March, which is quite a stressful way of working in partnership, and particularly targeting disadvantaged groups to have that residential experience. So I'm hoping with the minister announcement early enough that actually we're going to be looking at longer term funding, that we can truly invest the time in the partnership and making sure we have the reach that we want to. But it states very clearly outdoor education, and it is 4 times as much as what they're currently investing in this programme. So I am very optimistic, but I suspect we won't have the details until about October. I'm hoping it will be longer term rather than must be delivered by the end of March. So watch this space and I'll let you know. And the other news across our centres, in April, Lockabrook successfully ran a Big Give Green Match Fund. It's the first time we took part in the Green Match Fund, although we've been playing with Big Give for a couple of years now, to fund redevelopment of the garden space outside the cottage. We were fortunate to get some match funding from OVO Foundation, who are a new supporter to Woodcraft Folk and are keen to support opportunities for young people to engage in outdoors and young people to lobby for system change around climate. So they sound just right up our street. And what's really exciting about this project is that the plans for the outdoor space were created by pioneers who attended a pioneer activity weekend at Lockabrook last year. And with their enthusiasm, we submitted this application to the Big Give, and we actually raised more than we had targeted to do so. And over the next 12 months, the team at Lockabrook will be looking to use this money to make those improvements, so that we can have, I suppose, more accessible outdoor learning space in Lockabrook, because the space in the centre is quite limited, despite the fact there are lots of beds. There's a lot of space around Lockabrook, but it'd be really good to use that sort of cottage garden area, which had become a little overgrown, for education and for groups. Kathy, as you're here from Lockabrook, I don't know if there's anything that you want to say about Lockabrook. It doesn't have to be about the outdoor classroom, it can be Lockabrook in general.
No, I was just thinking that we haven't started talking about the details of the plan for the work, but we have 2 working weekends a year. So I suspect we'll be doing some of this work in our next working weekend, which is November. But our last one in May got really good response. We got a lot of people there, and we're getting new volunteers through as well. And some of them then convert into wardens. So there's a lot of enthusiasm for supporting Lockabrook. But it's a constant struggle, as it is with all the centres, isn't it? To get people in there.
You can't host 28,000 bed nights across the network without also having to have an equal number, if not more, hours worth spent on maintenance. But yes, no, I heard that the May weekend was glorious weather, and that people had a great time compared to the November weekend last year, where you had, I've forgotten the name of the storm, but did you not have some storm hit you that weekend?
I can't remember now, but I think we had dry stone wallers training. So we've had some of the dry stone walls rebuilt, but the May one, we had a few people who were actually rebuilding the cottage wall, because one of them had been on a dry stone wall training course. So yeah, loads of work done in May, and I felt very positive about it coming away from that.
Not only can you see the impact of your work, but it's like going to the gym at the same time. Lots of heavy lifting, I'm sure, sweeping, painting and the like. Thank you, Kathy. What else do I want to tell you? The Biblins Bunkhouse fundraiser continues. The team, as some of you who have been to these supporters updates will be aware, that last year they got some professional support from Design for All to look at how we can renovate the current bunkhouse, which, whilst being 3 stories, is actually a glorified shed because it currently doesn't meet fire safety regulations. And the team have come up with a beautiful proposal for a 40-bed site, and we're in the process of raising some funds and working with a structural engineer and the local planning to take the first steps into opening the bunkhouse. This is at least a 5-year project, so don't think you're going to be going there for your spring residential next year. But by the time we come back to 2030, hopefully, there'll be opportunities to come and stay at the bunkhouse, which I'm looking forward to, even though it's quite a long way away. Ro, are you going to share the staff update?
Yes, I was going to talk about this. I mean, there's some good news and some bad news in amongst all of this, because as I say, we are sad to be losing Mike as the Biblin Centre manager. He's been there for 8 years, so he'd made a big. He was there from not its creation, because it was there before we took it over, but it's creation for us, and we're very sorry to see him leave. Although we've wished him well. He's actually just finally gone, hasn't he? And we do. Is he gone? I think he's just
at the end of the month.
End of this month. Okay.
But he's got a great opportunity. So he's given a contract to create public works of art by the Arts Council, and his sculpture work is beautiful. If you've not looked, to give a little plug, go look up Mike Lawrence sculpture. It's stunning. We keep telling him that he needs to come and do some sculpture workshops at Biblins when he's got more time on his hands.
Oh, we should definitely follow that one up. Yes, I did. When I heard why he was leaving, you did kind of, yeah, fair enough. I can quite understand that one, but we're very sad to lose him. But pleased that we are actually going to be welcoming Kat, and there's a bit of an overlap hopefully as well, so a bit of a handover on that one. And we've also got a new maintenance assistant at Biblins in the shape of Jim, who I don't know. And at Lockerbrook, we've got a new domestic assistant who Kathy might know, because I don't. But also the next bit of news is actually breaking news. Literally, this hasn't even been announced to the membership yet. Although it has been announced to the membership that Debs is changing her role. She's not leaving Woodcroft Oak, but changing her role and working in a reduced role, but with a focus on fundraising, which actually, we've got to welcome that, because it's clearly very, very important. We can't get anywhere without funds, can we? But we have just offered the post to Lloyd Russell Moyle to take over as the new General Secretary. We're reverting to that name. We don't even have a start date yet. As soon as we do, we will announce it formally to the membership. But you've got some hot off the press stuff on that one, and it's always like a bit of a I don't know what the word is really. Not quite so exciting to say, "Oh, we're looking for a new domestic assistant at Highgate," but because it's important. But to have gone from new General Secretary, just been appointed to that.
But a new domestic assistant is also needed at Highgate. It's all about everybody making their contribution.
Absolutely.
But thank you, Ro. And then really finally for me, a little advance warning that we will once again be participating in the Big Give Christmas Challenge, which this year will be live from the 2nd to the 9th of December. As in previous years, every £1 donated will be match funded and therefore doubled. We're looking to raise a total of £20,000 to support new group development. Our priority as a team is to support more children and a greater diversity of children to access Woodcroft Oak, and therefore help our local groups and districts to broaden their reach. And we'll also be supporting Venture Camp, which is being hosted at Biblins next summer. The team will be sending out an announcement to all the venture groups soon. We will be looking for pledges. One of the ways that the Big Give works is that to show community support before we attract a match funder, we need to identify people who are willing to pledge £100 towards the campaign. So we are looking for members and supporters who either personally are willing or perhaps are willing to approach their employer to become a pledger for the campaign. It simply means filling in a form before the 29th of August and agreeing to part with the hard-earned cash by the 9th of January 2026, which was quite a long way away for now. But Grace will be messaging members and supporters alike to explain how the pledging system works. And that's it, apart from any questions.
I just spotted on that last slide that that's actually a picture of South Norwood district at Cudham.
Yeah,
That
this
bottom
year.
one.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
them eating ice lollies at the end of a hike. And one of the reasons I thought of that is because several of the children there were funded by the district to attend. One
Oh,
of the
that's
things that we do, because of my background in Woodcraft Folk, I was actually a single mother on benefits when my child was at Woodcraft Folk. Woodcraft Folk gave me a hell of a lot. It gave my daughter the only holiday she had until she was about 15, and I took her camping, which I hated, by the way, but never mind, because taking a teenager camping on your own is not much fun. But anyway, the point is that because of that, that commitment to me in the 1980s, I have a big thing in South Norwood district of ensuring that nobody is unable to attend for financial reasons, and I really promote that. And a couple of those children there were funded by the district to attend Cudham, and we do that every year as well. So it's kind of significant to a Christmas donation push as well. But
yeah,
I'm
no,
also, it was a few years ago, those children, 3 or 4 of those are now pioneers. So
yeah, no, it is a couple of years old. You're absolutely right. Maybe I need to take some more photos. I think that's a really relevant point to raise, though, Ro, and something that we are very shortly about to publish the Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Review that Woodcraft Folks Working Group has been doing. And in that, it raises the issue of financial barriers and how groups and districts can seek to reduce those, both for volunteers and young people. So watch that. That should come out to your inboxes by the end of this month. But were there any questions? Or perhaps I'll thank everybody and say that the next supporters update will be in September. And if I stop recording, then maybe people would feel like they want to ask some questions. So I've